Заебет и чё? Ебать.
Охуеть.
In the early hours of a tense and silent night, the calm skies over Ukraine were abruptly torn apart by the roar of engines and the unmistakable whine of kamikaze drones descending with deadly precision. In what analysts are calling one of the largest unmanned aerial offensives of the war so far, Russian forces launched a coordinated strike using over 200 attack drones, primarily the now infamous Geran-2 and the less familiar but no less effective Harpy-A1. This was not an act of random aggression. It was a highly calculated operation aimed at crippling Ukraine's ability to wage a technologically sustained war. According to reports, the primary targets were not just military units in the field, but the industrial backbone that keeps the Ukrainian war machine running. It was an attack on the infrastructure behind the front lines, the factories, airfields, and logistics hubs that quietly shape the tempo and capability of any prolonged military engagement. At the center of the assault was the Meridian Plant in Kyiv, a pivotal facility for Ukraine's radioelectronic industry. This facility, which bears the name of Soviet space program pioneer Sergei Korolev, is responsible for manufacturing complex electronic equipment, including precision measurement devices and environmental control instruments. But its strategic relevance goes far deeper. Intelligence suggests this plant plays a critical role in developing and supplying radioelectronic warfare systems, tools that are vital for counter-drone operations, communications, and surveillance. Roughly 50 Geran-2 drones struck this facility, signaling its high value in Russia's targeting hierarchy. Two other industrial targets in the Kyiv region also came under heavy fire: Aviaprakht and Aerodrone, both private firms involved in the development, repair, and component supply for long-range UAVs. Between them, a staggering 70 drones were used, 30 on Aviaprakht and 40 on Aerodrone. These facilities are believed to have supported not just domestic UAV development, but potentially assisted in adapting Western systems to local battlefield requirements. Their destruction could significantly disrupt Ukraine's capacity to deploy indigenous drone solutions or maintain imported platforms. Further west of Kyiv, in the outskirts of Nalyvaikovka, a known airstrip approximately 55 kilometers from the capital, another strike unfolded. 30 Geran-2 drones targeted this location, which intelligence sources claim was used for light aircraft operations and potentially for temporary storage of ordnance. The precision of the strike, combined with the type and quantity of drones used, indicates a deliberate attempt to neutralize Ukraine's forward-deployed logistics and rapid air mobility assets. The strike campaign didn't stop at the capital. Farther east, near the town of Varvarivka, around 75 kilometers northeast of Dnipro, Russian forces deployed a mix of Geran-2 and Harpy-A1 drones, 40 in total, to destroy a major ammunition depot. This site was a critical logistics node for Eastern Front operations, supporting Ukrainian forces near Donetsk and Luhansk. The attack here was clearly aimed at choking supply lines and degrading Ukraine's ability to sustain its defenses in the most contested regions of the battlefield. Although post-strike assessments are still underway, early indications suggest substantial structural damage and operational disruption across multiple sites. Footage and satellite imagery are expected to confirm the scale and precision of the attacks in the coming days. However, the strategic messaging is already clear. Russia is escalating its deep strike doctrine, using massed drone swarms not just for tactical harassment, but for strategic-level sabotage of Ukraine's industrial war engine. It is also important to highlight the increasing role of unmanned systems in modern warfare. The scale of this operation demonstrates how relatively low-cost, high-volume kamikaze drones can replace conventional cruise missiles for deep strikes. The Geran-2, modeled on the Iranian Shade 136, and the new Harpy-A1 appear to have been employed in a coordinated networked attack, overwhelming Ukrainian air defenses with saturation tactics. As the war enters a more technologically driven phase, this attack may mark a turning point. No longer limited to frontline engagements, Russian military planning now appears focused on infrastructure decapitation, disabling the production and repair lines, air mobility, and ammunition flows that sustain Ukrainian resistance. Whether this assault was a one-off operation or the beginning of a new campaign remains to be seen. For Ukraine, the challenge ahead lies not only in repelling drones, but in rebuilding its damaged industrial nodes, maintaining supply chains, and rapidly adapting to a battlefield where infrastructure is as vulnerable as soldiers in the trench. For military observers, this incident offers a critical glimpse into the future of drone warfare: strategic, precise, and increasingly devastating. What was the primary objective of Russia's 200-drone strike on Ukraine? The primary objective appears to have been the disruption of Ukraine's defense industrial base. By targeting key facilities such as the Meridian radioelectronic plant, UAV component factories, and ammunition depots, Russia likely aimed to degrade Ukraine's ability to maintain, develop, and deploy modern warfare systems, particularly in the fields of drone warfare, electronic defense, and logistics. It was a strategic infrastructure attack, not a tactical frontline assault. Why did Russia use drones instead of missiles for this operation? Drones like the Geran-2 and Harpy-A1 offer several advantages. They are cheaper, harder to detect, and can be launched in large numbers to overwhelm air defenses. Unlike cruise missiles, Kamikaze drones can loiter over a target area, increase strike accuracy, and force defenders to expend valuable anti-aircraft resources. This operation reflects a shift toward high-volume networked drone warfare, a trend increasingly shaping modern conflict. How significant is the damage to Ukraine's military capabilities? While full damage assessments are ongoing, early reports suggest substantial disruption to critical support infrastructure. The destruction of drone production and repair facilities, combined with strikes on logistics nodes and ammunition depots, will likely delay or degrade Ukraine's operational tempo, particularly in unmanned and long-range systems. However, Ukraine has shown resilience in rapidly repairing damage and dispersing assets to mitigate future strikes. How has Ukraine responded to the drone strikes, both militarily and politically?
Ukraine has condemned the strikes as a violation of international norms and an escalation in strategic targeting of civilian industrial infrastructure. Politically, Ukrainian officials are pushing for enhanced Western air defense support, particularly systems capable of detecting and neutralizing loitering munitions. Militarily, Ukraine has increased the dispersal of critical production facilities and is adapting to operate under the persistent threat of saturation drone attacks.
What has NATO said about the strikes?
As of now, NATO has not issued a unified formal response, but individual member states have reiterated their commitment to supporting Ukraine and emphasized the need for expanded air defense integration and intelligence sharing. NATO's broader concern lies in the normalization of deep strike drone warfare near alliance borders, a tactic that could become a larger strategic risk in future hybrid conflicts.
How is the United States reacting to this drone offensive?
U.S. officials have publicly condemned the attacks and described them as a deliberate targeting of dual-use infrastructure with military relevance. Behind the scenes, Washington is likely evaluating options to accelerate the delivery of counter-UAV systems to Ukraine, expand ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, sharing, and possibly sanction entities involved in the development or supply of drone components to Russia. The U.S. is also watching closely to assess the effectiveness of mass drone warfare as a scalable threat model.
Does this strike represent a change in Russia's strategy?
Yes, this operation reflects a clear evolution in Russian military strategy. Rather than focusing solely on frontline combat, Russia is now conducting strategic-level infrastructure degradation using unmanned systems. This indicates a broader shift toward asymmetric technology-driven pressure, potentially signaling the beginning of a campaign aimed at paralyzing Ukraine's ability to sustain war through technological attrition.